All right, so in our test suite, we could have some setup code, we could have some teardown code. In order to actually run our tests, we don't need to do anything with those, so that's okay. Also, because our specific class, just like with view controllers inheriting from UI view controllers, this class inherits from Xcode test case. This superclass has these functions already built in. So right now, if we're just overriding them, we don't actually need to use them. There's already going to be some setup and some teardown that happens. Now here's a test example. Does anyone remember how we run this test? I'm going to press this guy. Let's run it. It failed. That's because that guy doesn't work. Hold on. Let's make our dog work. Dog. Let's comment this out for now. So who cares? Let's run it. So it succeeds? I don't know. Why does it succeed? Let's go look at our test suite. I can run it from this tab that looks like a diamond. It says it executed these tests with 0 failures, but we haven't done any testing. We need to make an assertion. Does everyone remember the AAA pattern? What do those letters stand for?
Arrange, act, assert.
Hell yeah. Arrange, act, assert. Anna, could you describe what you mean by arrange?
I guess it would be setting up whatever you want to test.
Setting up whatever we want to test. Okay, so like in terms of getting an instance of the model, maybe? Cool. Makes sense to me. About act. Sunny?
It's where you apply the methods or functions to your models.
Yep, apply whatever we want to test. And then an assert is usually just been a one-liner for us. What's that one-liner doing? It's not shrugging, actually. Rod. I'm sorry? It sends a bool. What's the function we've called for asserting? What does that do?
It takes in some arguments and then returns using their true.
Yeah. So it just compares a couple things. If those things return a true from their comparison, then the test passed. If it fails, you write a custom message for the failure. So give a message for the failure. That's all in one line, right? What's the simplest test we could write for this test example before we even test our model? It's going to be an assert. Yeah, we can just test if 1 equals 1. Then this message is if it fails. If it fails, I'll just say the numbers weren't equal. Let's go ahead and run this again. Testing. Cool. Test succeeded. I'm going to get rid of this guy because right now we don't need it. Now, if this runs and it fails, one failure. Damn. Shows us failed. The numbers weren't equal. So for this assert, that's built into Xcode when you run a test. So run it. It's going to show me where it fails. It's right here. So that's a failing test. I'll see all that in here. I know you all love this output area. Do my test. Let's add another failing test. When we create a test function, what's the important naming convention we need to keep in mind? It needs to start with the lowercase word test. Must start with that. So test that, I don't know, letters match. I'm just going to have this one do a similar comparison with strings. This would be David double equal to, David dot lowercase. And this should succeed or fail, Hildy. Hildy, should this succeed or fail? Why do you say that? What's the comparison we're doing? It's a little different. Okay, pass it to someone. I think Eric does. Okay, Kimball wants it. Okay, what is this message at the end? Yeah, so this is just like a message we're defining if the test doesn't pass. So if it fails, okay. I'm going to change this up so that every time I build it, it's not building for a whole app. Instead, it's just running my test suite. Now when I test, go ahead, buddy. Let's make that pass. Hit test. Oh, now it's adding it to this. Go away. Build succeeded. Run our test suite.
Do you make 26 pass because 29 won't run unless it does, or just so that we're looking at one error message?
Just so that we're looking at one error message. They'll all run simultaneously if I run them here. And it will eventually conclude its test. What do you all expect to happen? Should I see any errors? By default, whatever comparison is made in that first argument to our assert is us saying, we expect this to be true.
All tests are just rules that decide if something's true or false, and just decide if it's right or wrong.
Yeah. So in the end, in our assert line, we're just doing the comparison between what work we did and what we expected to receive from. Should we test our dog?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. So let's say I create a new file in here. It's going to be a JSON. This is so annoying. I'm going to do it from the command line because I'm an addict. I don't want to. Okay. You know I love. Can I do this? What about if I just do it like that? Oh, come on.
Now,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. I'll let that out.
5. It's gone now. Okay. So let's do the whole thing. Who wants to decode it? Or who wants to encode it first? Let's say dogs is an array of objects. First is a dog with a name. What's a good dog name?
Cookie.
Cookie. Great. Let's get another dog name. Cake. Yes, these are all dogs. Don't.
Cinnamon roll.
Okay. All right. Not all dogs are so cute you want to eat them. Am I right?
Bird.
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 Bert. It's a great dog. Man. Bert. All right, that's good for now. So here is the thing. Ultimately, this is one JSON object, right? It's got a bunch of dogs in it, which if I could use my hand steadily, you could see all of them. Go away. It's got a bunch of dogs in here, but actually what we're going to need to test is that this wrapper we're going to have to create for all these dogs works. Bless you. Right? We've got an object which within it has a key called dogs, which holds an array of these things that just say names and some value for that name. And so we're going to have to change our model for it. We've got a struct called dog. What do we also have to make sure about this dog if we're going to be converting it from JSON to some Swift type? Let's make it codable. Wrong way. Codable. Cool. And we also need another struct called dog wrapper, which is codable. And in it is just going to be like dogs, be an array of dog. Right? Why do I need this wrapper? Rod. Yes, so we need to work with the specific format of the JSON that we're going to get here. So because this JSON wasn't just an array of dogs, but rather it was a blob, some JSON object, with a key dogs, with the values in this array for 4 different dogs, I'm going to need to go ahead and get those doggies. So what we are going to, fuck, I erased it. One test is going to be that we test our decoding. Another is going to be test the dog tag. So the whole process of decoding that we're all used to, of looking at a JSON, figuring out the structure of this model, that is just one model test we're going to do. When we talk about unit testing in this classroom, that is the only test we expect of you. It's just that if you had a sample of the information that you expect to decode into a type that you've created, that you are testing that all those attributes work, and that if I went and I used the JSON of it, which I'd probably get from an API, that it turns into the type and works as expected. So that if someone else uses your code with your setup for the API, with your tests, if all the tests pass, they can trust you. They can say, all right, this is hooked up to the API the right way. I'm good to go. That's the whole point of testing. It also spares you in like 3 months when you forgot exactly what you did, but you can run these tests and just be like, 2 of them failed. Crap, I don't know what to do. You'll at least have some indication. All right, who wants to write a test with me? Albert, let's write some tests. First test I want to write is called, I'm going to comment these out. Let's create a func test, decode dog JSON. Talk me through it. It's totally acceptable if you want to go through your old code to find those like helpers we made for going to find the file location of your dog JSON. You know, all the tests you've written in the past. All those tests you've written in the past should have good examples of all the tests that you all have written in the past. You've used the same way of finding a file locally. So, not just you, but I'll put it to the class. Take 3 minutes to find like that template of how we did it. You can Slack it to me. Yes.
This is testing our model or coding,
Mhm.
which I think is awesome. What about testing that we are correctly getting something wrong? Make that wrong.
So that would be the integration test we were talking
Okay,
about.
that's why I didn't understand unit testing, and I was trying to do it that way. That's why I never made unit test work.
Yeah. So the integration test is more, it's going to require more than one person on the test, right? This is you saying, my code I wrote works. That's what a unit test is. The unit of work that you've done works and other people can trust it. Anyone find that wrapper? Sorry? Thank you, Kevin. Liana, did you have a question? Please? Oh, damn. Okay. All right. So Kevin found us this wonderful function that we created, not function, path to the thing. And we called this dog JSON.json. Great. Path to data, we get a URL. Great. Now,
I actually do have a question. Previously, we made a different function that was not a test with this information in it.
yep.
Is it best practice to put it inside of the test or to make a separate function in the testing suite? And just call the function inside of your test file?
Definitely choice 2. Make a private function in here that does this. We can refactor that out right after. All right, does anyone know what we do next? We do try something. We definitely do try something. Ooh. What do we do try? Do. Try. Catch. Have to see if maybe something a little before that. Yeah, we gotta decode. So we gotta go look at that file, get the stuff back from there, and then turn it into a dog. Or maybe a few. So maybe we'll do let data equal try data for, what do we have here? Sam, what do we have pointing to some location that can get us some information? Yeah, we have a URL. So is there an initializer for data that can use a URL? Okay, cool. Let's find it. Contents of URL. Awesome. Thanks, Sam. And the reason this needs a try keyword is because if we look back at contents of, this function throws an error if it doesn't work. It's okay. Throws an error if it doesn't work, which is why we need to catch it in here. If we catch it, I'm going to do Sam's favorite thing, fatal error. Sorry. Bad. And then we'll print out the error. What are we going to do with this data now? See if it exists. Great. So I'm going to save outside of this block var data is equal to some empty data object. And here I'm actually going to say data is if we try and get that. Our goal here is to decode a dog JSON. So this try catch block goes and gets us data. But now what do we need to set up in our model to actually make that JSON turn into some data? This function, this test, our assertion is going to be that we can decode some JSON into our type dog. Right now, we don't have dogs. We have a data object that we're getting from that JSON file we saved locally. There's another step that we're going to have to do. What is that step? Decode it. Where should we set up that decoding? We're going to set it up on our model. So I'm going to make a static function called decode dogs, which is going to return an array of dog. And because I get annoyed by that stuff, for right now, I'm just going to add that. How do we decode information? Did this all through Unit 3. JSON. What's our typical setup for decoding information? What do we need to receive in this function? Yeah. So we'll say data, which is a data object. Yeah. Let's do something, catch something. Then what are we going to try? Decode. Tell me that one again. That's super important. Mm-hmm. Cool. How would you describe what .self means? I know it's very weird and kind of abstract. Yeah, it's weird, right? It's kind of like, yeah, just selecting and being explicit about the type. Because if this was just array of dog, it wouldn't really know what that means. So that's our struct. Now, what are we going to do with those dogs? Cool. I'm just going to say, I'm going to kill it. Actually, I think if we kill it, it's going to defeat the purpose. So print it, error. Cool. That's our whole decoder, right? Now, Now we're going to get an error saying it's missing a return for this catch block. What do y'all want to return? If this doesn't work. An empty array? Okay, that's an idea. Any other ideas? Turn an app error. Could have this be something like a result, right? We could turn this into a success and failure. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to say, doesn't work, return nil. And then when we go and we make our test right now, I'm going to say dogs is equal to try dog dot. Get that. Nope. Dog dot the other one. Decode dogs from data. How we feel about this so far? Look familiar? Probably need to say this is a value we want to save as a constant. Now what do we do? This JSON we made before. I gotta give it the explicit, I have to explicitly give it the file name of where I'm decoding that information from. That was this whole bundle stuff. Yep. Now we've decoded it. Our whole point is to test it. Kevin, what do you want to do? Cool. Dogs is not equal to nil? Like that? Okay. Cool. Tell me about that test.
So the decoding is successful and dogs are not test passed.
Cool. If the decoding is successful, then we're going to get dogs back. Otherwise, we returned nil. Right? That array of dogs was optional. I think that's a good idea. This will work no matter what we put in that JSON, so long as that can be decoded into dogs. How do y'all feel about that? It's okay right now. I'm going to get rid of dog tag for a second because it's not going to work. Bert. Cool. I want to get rid of this error. I don't want to kill it. Is there something I can do with my test from what you guys have tried that can just automatically make it fail? XCT assert nil false. Assert that this should be false. There's an XCT fail. Where's that? Where is it? Oh. Like that? Okay. Cool.
If you don't have that, you spend a long time figuring out why your test still passes it's supposed to fail.
Ah, interesting. So what we were literally setting up here is we're saying, I don't want to do that. Error dot description. Cool. We're making our assertion here, and we're just accounting for the fact that all of our try stuff might fail. And so if that stuff doesn't work, just fail it, and then give us the message. This isn't an assert. This is just literally saying test failed, and here's the reason why.
Why would it fail on line 32 versus failing on line 30 and we couldn't get that test?
We didn't get that. Those dogs, sorry.
Because I said, forever to figure this out.
Cool.
If it doesn't succeed, it never enters
Let's test it.
And there is no search. So the default is pass.
Fatal error. Couldn't find JSON file. Fatal error, fatal error, fatal error. Interesting. I couldn't find my dog JSON file. How do we find that? Also, we could probably refactor that to just be a fail there, right? HOF. Let's test. Test failed. Couldn't find the JSON file. So it failed here. We've defined how our test should work. We said it's going to fail here. Does anyone want to help me find my JSON file? Where is it? Ooh. I need to make sure that it is available to my test's target. Now let's try it. Test failed. Let's find out more. Still couldn't find it. That's a pain. What can we do? Here's something we could do. Just move it in here. See if that works.
Is your model, dog model, also access to the test model? You have the default box function in the dog. So if you check it out, it's going to go in the dog.
It is. But actually, we're still just getting that same failed test. How do we find it? I'm going to look to Kevin. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see if that's the thing. I just don't think so. But I am very stubborn. Have you guys met me? Okay. Nope. Dog, JSON, dot, JSON. All right. All right. It's okay, I did. All right. Is that it? I'm ready. Damn, it still failed. Same error. Anyone got any ideas? I forgot how this crap works. Places of type. Manual.main.f. Should we check it off? Sure it's available. Can't find the file. Bundle. Main.path. Yeah. Okay. JSON. Type. JSON. Should be the exact same thing. Let's find out though. Okay. Run it again. Failure. Kevin, what am I doing wrong? Sorry? I don't know where the file went. This guy? It is. Or let's just double check. Check it in all files. Yeah, it's just there. Sorry. Yep. So it's nil. Failed there. Ah, fuck this shit. Couldn't find JSON file. Okay. Then we're gonna .json of type JSON. I'm doing it from the command line. You cannot stop me. Fly.json. You're done. Now touch .json.json. Ooh. Let's go here. Let's create Finder, new, view, desktop.
Oh, what's that do not show us?
Nothing.
Who's teaching that?
What?
Why is teaching
Don't show her. Okay, put you in there. Okay. I don't think this is the issue. Cool. So I've still made it an issue. Let's test it again. I feel like we've had this issue before. Same failure. Why the hell? No. Works on your machine. That's upsetting to me. Test.json. Got data. Do data thing. Do data. Do data thing. Refactor this crap out. Run it. That's not going to be it. Let's refactor. Let's run it. This is not going to be it. Same failure. Cool. All right, let's pick this up after lunch.
See? Look about unit testing.
I'm sorry? Such a good point. Correct. We're gonna have to change up tomorrow. TBD. We'll probably do review in the afternoon and the lesson in the morning. Chock full of content. I'm sorry? I am indeed. Do it. Rod, great idea, but I don't think that was it. I'll figure it out during lunch. I think we